Thinking about switching payroll providers, but worried it's going to be a little too complicated? Well, this is the video for you. In this video, I'm actually going to walk you through the step-by-step of switching payroll providers, specifically switching over to OnPay, which is where I am switching my actual payroll for my actual team. So I figured while I was doing it, I may as well record the entire process for you so that you can see behind the curtain of what it's like to switch payroll providers. Now, this is actually part 2 of my series on switching payroll providers. So if you haven't seen my first video, that'll be the next one to watch after this. In that video, I shared the myths and misconceptions I kept hearing that prevented me from switching payroll platforms and what finally convinced me to make the switch. I'll make sure to link it in the YouTube cards above me right here. And after watching the step-by-step, if you want to see how it actually went to run my payroll the first time around, make sure to subscribe because that's the next video that I will be doing. Plus, I'm also going to be doing a deep dive on switching 401k providers as well, because I'm going to be doing that too. And by way of introduction, if I haven't met you yet, hi, I'm Jamie Trull, CPA and financial educator, and on this channel, I make content to help you stay informed, organized, and profitable in your business finances, and I love recommending tools that just make life easier. So with that, let's jump on over to my computer and I'll show you the step-by-step of switching to OnPay. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did step-by-step in OnPay to switch over my payroll provider. So first, you're going to want to go to jamietrull.com/OnPay. If you plan to switch to OnPay, you can find a special offer here. You should be able to see that you get a $100 referral reward just by using this link. So that's why you want to definitely use this link. And then you're going to fill in your information right here to get started. Now, I know sometimes people don't want to just put their information in. So if you want to check out more about OnPay, feel free to click on the OnPay logo. You can find things like pricing, other resources, reviews, and this is a great place to kind of get a feel for what it's like within OnPay so that you feel more comfortable taking the next step. But when you do decide that it's time for you to get started, make sure to go back up to the top here, either navigate back to my link or just click this to make sure you get your $100. So it'll take you back to this page and you can go ahead and sign up. Now, one thing that I want to specifically call your attention to is the fact that it asks you how you pay your team now. So depending on what you do, either manually, using another software, my accountant or bookkeeper handles it, or I'm new to payroll, that is going to help them determine what the next steps are. So for me, because I'm moving from another payroll platform, I'm going to click this option. And the great thing about this is that you don't have to worry about needing to get a callback or a quote or something like that. All of the pricing is right here on the page. So when you fill out that information, it's going to tell you the next steps. You're going to get an email, you're going to log in and enter more information about your company, connect to your bank account, you can start adding employees, and then you're actually going to be able to run that payroll. And then once you go through the process of verifying your account via email, you're going to be able to log in, and then you're going to get to this stage where you can complete setup. So I'm actually doing this for my real company because I want to show you the step by step. So we're going to hit complete setup. And here we are. I actually really like the look of this interface. It looks very straightforward. I'm a big fan of step by step. So it looks like we have 7 steps to go through. We're going to put in company basics, owner officer information, reporting agent authorization, bank account details, pay schedules, work sites, and then we're going to verify the bank account. So I'm going to get started and start going through these so that you can see a little bit behind the scenes of this. I also like that they are here and they give you their hours of operation, which nicely actually go into the evening hours, which is great. So that's good to know that they are on call for if I need any help. So I'm going to start with step 1. And I'm going to go through, I won't show you all of this, but it looks like it's just company name and address, tax information. So make sure you have your EIN and it's the correct EIN. Now, looking down through here, one of the things that could be confusing is this company classification depending on what you are. So if you don't have a classification yet, you haven't filed anything, you are a sole proprietorship. There's also the choice of an LLC, a corporation, or nonprofit. I am actually an LLC taxed as an S corporation. So My legal entity type is an LLC. My tax classification is an S corporation. So I always kind of scratch my head when it comes to questions like this because it can be a little bit confusing. I'm actually going to select LLC here. I'm assuming that somewhere else in this setup process, I will be able to designate that I am an S corporation and therefore as an owner, I am on payroll. So I think that's the safest way to go for now. Now, the other thing to determine is what the first check date is going to be. So that's going to be the first pay period you are expecting to pay your employees. So depending on when it is, let's say I wanted to do October 1st. It's letting me do that as a first check date. I pay my employees semi-monthly, so I'm actually going to make mine October the 15th because then I have a clean start at the beginning of Q4, but I think it's completely fine to use any date, whatever date you want to have your first payroll run actually happen through the new system. I'd probably give it at least 2 weeks if you can. And then here it asked me if I had paid any employees or contractors in 2025, and the answer is actually yes. And it sounds like the payroll experts from our team will enter all of your workers and prior wage data into OnPay for you. Well, that's kind of awesome. Be on the lookout for an email with instructions explaining what we need to get started. So when I get that email, I'll show you exactly what that process looks like. All right, step 2 is pretty straightforward. It's just entering name, address, and basic information for at least one owner or officer of the company. For me, I'm the 100% owner, so I'm just going to put my information in here, but y'all don't need to see that, so I'm going to pause it. And next is just the reporting agent authorization. I actually like how this is built directly in here. It's not like a separate step for onboarding as I've seen before. And this is just the 8655, which is just giving them consent. So you can actually read through this if you really want to, but ultimately the point is just to sign. And here's exactly what you're consenting to when you sign. It's basically that OnPay can actually file your payroll taxes for you. Now, one thing, just in case you run into this too, that I found weird is that I had put my title as owner and it wasn't allowing me to actually sign the document for some reason. So I guess there's only certain titles that are going to be able to sign. So I actually went ahead and said, okay, well, I'm the owner and I'm the CEO, so now I can sign. So if it's not letting you sign, just pick the title that actually best represents you from that list. And now is where we're just going to put in our company bank account. This is going to be the account we're actually going to use to pay our employees. So make sure you're putting in the right routing number and account number. Once again, I'm going to put you on pause because you don't need to see that. And we're already on step 5, which is putting in your pay schedule. So I'm just going to have a schedule name, which is our regular pay schedule, let's say. You can pick whatever your pay frequency is. I'm going to align with what I was doing before, which is semi-monthly. So semi-monthly means twice a month. I pay on the 15th of the month and the last day of the month. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. So now we're going to look at that first period. For me, that first period is going to be on the 15th of the month. Take a look. If you don't know this, you can go into your prior payroll provider and figure out what that period start date should be. I actually pay the first 2 weeks. So I'll pay the 1st through the 15th on that first paycheck. And then the second check date for my business, and again, this could be different than yours, is going to be the current month, end of month. And then that start date would be the 16th. And the end date would then be the last day of the month. And you can see you can actually add another pay schedule if you wanted to. So you can have as many as you want in here. If you have employees that you pay differently, you could add another pay schedule for that. And now we're on to work sites. So specify one or more locations where your employees perform their work. So if you have physical offices, you're going to put that in. I have actually completely a remote team and they are in multiple different states. So I'm going to enter each of their home addresses in as a work site. That lets the payroll company know that they are going to need to be filing some payroll reports for those specific states. Okay, so I went ahead in that step 6 and put in all of my employees. Now note, you're only going to do this for employees, not for contractors, but if you have home-based employees, you're going to want to put all their addresses in as various different work sites. And if you work from regular locations, you're just going to put those locations where you actually are doing business. So one of the great things that I love about OnPay, and one of the reasons that I chose to go with OnPay, is the fact that they do not charge more for having employees in various states. And I I actually have employees in 5 different states. And so that was a big thing for me because I can handle that without having to pay for a higher package or having to pay extra for each state that I have an employee. Now we're on to the final step, and that is just verifying the bank account. So I'm just going to press verify using Plaid. And there you have it. I just picked the specific account that I'm going to be paying my payroll out of, and I verified that via Plaid by going through those verification steps. And let's see what happens when you press close guide and continue. Okay, well, I guess I am set up and I can kind of tool around in here and look around. And it had told me that because I'm moving from another payroll provider, I'm going to get an email. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that. And when I get that, I will come back and record the steps for how to get them to migrate over all of my past payroll in here to make it super easy for me to go ahead and run my first payroll out of OnPay. Well, that was fast. I pretty much immediately got a couple of emails from OnPay with next steps. The first one that I got was from my dedicated onboarding coordinator, and she gave me her number, said that she would call me within the next business day or so to learn more about the account and discuss next steps, which is great. I love having a person that I can actually talk through to walk me through this. And also says if there's a day or time that works to just let her know, which that's probably what I'll do so that I don't have to randomly be watching for a call, that I can actually just set up a time to go through this with her. And then the other email I got right around the same time was an email that is automated through OnPay. Again, it gives the same information about a call that'll be coming. I love that they give you the number so that if you screen your calls like I do, you know to be on the lookout. And it gives some next steps. So it says to verify banking details. I've already done that piece. And then also to provide payroll history for data migration. So this is the big one that we are going to have to do. Again, I could wait and talk to my coordinator, but I'm making this video for y'all. So of course I'm going to go ahead and start taking these steps on my own. So I'm going to press make selection and see where it takes me. Okay, and it took me to this screen where I'm going to submit some prior payroll details. So I'm going to put my information. It's just asking for business name, email, expected first check date, and whether it's the first time I've provided payroll history to OnPay. Okay, now the second screen asks me what type of workers have I paid this year. I've paid both, but I'm actually only going to be migrating my W-2, so I'm going to hit that. Who is my existing payroll provider? It's also asking me what benefits I currently offer. Do I have workers' comp insurance in place? Do I currently have a 401k in place? And whether I'm currently working with a PEO. So now it is telling me that there are a few different ways that I can get the information into OnPay. So I can either add OnPay as an authorized user to my existing payroll platform, or I can upload reports myself. So I'm kind of torn between these two. I think it's really interesting that they provide an option to actually port it over directly where they would do the heavy lifting and I don't have to spend a bunch of time pulling reports. But I'm first going to click this one and see what instructions it gives me if I wanted to upload my own reports. Oh, great. So it's giving me pretty detailed instructions. So there's even information on where to go to make sure to add state tax information and exactly how to be able to pull those reports and which reports they need. So you can do all of this, either upload reports for OnPay to enter it, or you enter the employee information. That's great that it gives you that choice. And then it tells you, like I said, which reports it's going to need and where to get them. So this is where you're going to be able to drag and drop all of those files and make sure you've checked yes, that you've entered your state tax and employment information. Now, if you don't want to do all of this, right, which I'm kind of in the camp of, you know what, I don't really have all the time to pull all these reports and go back and forth if I pulled something wrong. So I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to give this a try by adding OnPay as an authorized user. I think that's a really interesting option to give. And so now it's giving me the option to add implementation at onpay.com as a user and provide them with as much access as possible and to put our login URL. Now, what I will say here is I'm going to go into my payroll platform and see what the user permissions are. I definitely trust OnPay, but I also just don't necessarily want to give permissions for things like actually running payroll or changing bank account information or anything like that. There shouldn't be a reason that they really need that. Okay, so when I went into my current payroll, I found a role that was actually CPA view. So this is, if somebody, if I was going to give access to my accountant to be able to pull reports and things like that, they have view access to all the reports. So that's what I gave. We'll see if that is enough, if that works for this process. My guess is that it should. And that way I don't feel uncomfortable at all. Again, not that I don't trust OnPay, I just don't like to give admin rights to really anyone else because I'm a control freak. So I'm always worried about security. So this is what it says. It essentially just says, click submit to send your information to our team and that they'll contact me if they have any questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and submit. So if you're wondering what happened next, after I submitted all of that, it was less than a day before they came back and said, yep, we were able to get access into your system. We can see all the information and we'll be able to move it all over into OnPay for you, which was amazing. And then my onboarding coordinator also followed up with a couple of questions after they had reviewed that data, that they had questions around my 401k program. And then they had a question because they noted that I did not seem to have an employer number for one of the states where I had listed an employee as working. And that's actually because my employee is currently in the process of moving to that state, so I haven't registered yet. But they immediately sent me all of the instructions to figure out how to go through the process and register. So it was really nice that they just sent me everything that I needed to know to make sure that I could go forward and register for that state so that we wouldn't have any issues come payroll time. And I did get on the phone with my onboarding coordinator. She was lovely. She took all of my questions. She walked me through next steps. And I found it really, really beneficial to actually be on the phone with a real human being that I could talk to. That was absolutely amazing, especially in this world of software where it feels like we really only get to talk to chatbots or, machine recordings. To be able to ask questions to a real human was amazing. And she has been incredibly responsive this whole time thus far. And my guess is that that will continue. So as far as next steps, after I run my final payroll in my old payroll system, OnPay is going to go ahead and move all of my data over, including all my employee data. They're going to pull in all the 401k data, everything that they need from my old system directly into OnPay so that there will only be very limited things, if anything, for me to do before it's time for me to go in and run my first payroll on OnPay. Now, if you have questions about the process, make sure to drop them down in the comments. And if you do plan to sign up for OnPay, don't miss out on that $100 referral bonus. Just go to jamietrull.com/OnPay to sign up. And don't forget to subscribe because my next video is going to be me reviewing actually running payroll in OnPay for the first time. So I'm going to make sure to show you how I did it and also what I thought of the process and how it compares and contrasts to other payroll providers that I have used, and I have used a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.